ES Audio.
What's up? I'm John Weeks. This is the Evening Standard's Tech and Science Daily. Let's get into it. Coming up, the drone that flies without propellers. But first, the UK's first early cancer research facility has officially opened up at the University of Cambridge. It's called the Early Cancer Institute, and the aim behind it is to create a world where we can detect cancer early enough to cure it.
The end goal is a clinical test that would ultimately save lives, and you're taking something all the way to the clinic, but that really needs to start with fundamental biology, fundamental science.
That's Jamie Blundell, an assistant professor at the Institute, who told us they're planning to focus on cancers that are hard to treat. He said the Institute is dedicated to understanding, detecting and treating early cancers before they've had a chance to spread.
If someone were to walk into a clinic today, let's say at age 65 and be diagnosed with a particular cancer, it raises the question, well, could I have known 5 years before? Could I have known 10 years before? What about 20 years before? So there are interesting fundamental science questions around what are the limits to early detection.
And Jamie told us because of continual improvements in technology, they're able to record and examine changes in the body in such high detail, but warned that such powerful tech does have its issues.
So the flip side of having these great technologies is that as we are able to kind of detect more and more things, we're going to see, of course, we're going to detect more and more abnormal things, but the real question is, which of those are going to develop into a potential lethal cancer?
Researchers at Stanford University have created a device which can track tumour growth through the skin. The wearable sensor has been tested on mice and is sensitive to 1/100th of a millimetre. It's designed to beam results to a smartphone app in real time, and it's hoped it could be used to test the efficacy of cancer drugs. The researchers say the sensor works as a fast, inexpensive, hands-free and accurate way to test the efficacy of drugs, and on a bigger scale, it could lead to new directions in cancer treatment. Now, the UN's Secretary-General Antonio Guterres is calling for fossil fuel companies to be taxed to pay for the impact of climate change. He's calling on developed economies to tax the windfall profits of polluters and redirect the funds to countries which have suffered damage because of climate change, as well as to people struggling with rising food and energy prices. It's as world leaders gather in New York for the UN General Assembly this week, ahead of COP27 in Egypt in November. Now, it turns out getting better quality sleep is more important than how much sleep you get. That's according to a research team at Liverpool John Moores University, who tracked the sleeping patterns of more than 1,000 new military recruits. They found on average they slept 2 hours less during training compared with normal civilian life, making them nearly 3 times as likely to suffer with respiratory infection. But they discovered that those who reported good quality sleep, despite it being restricted, weren't more likely to suffer with any illness. The research team said it shows that sleeping well can trump sleeping long when it comes to our immunity to illness. A scientist behind a plaster-like heart patch is hoping to raise enough money to continue his life-saving work. The patch, designed by Professor Sanjay Sina, works by contracting like the heart does when it beats and can be grafted onto the vital organ. It's taken years to develop, and it's actually grown in a petri dish using stem cells as well as a specific mixture of proteins called growth factors. But Sanjay and the team at the University of Cambridge need more funding to take the tech to clinical trials, so he's fundraising by running the London Marathon. Coming up, how you can make money from your gym pass when you don't go. Plus, the new next generation drone. Why not rate us and give us a follow in the meantime? Welcome back. A new app has launched in London which lets you rent out your gym memberships when you're not using them. It's called Athlo, and it's been designed for people to let other users borrow their membership and earn money back. Athlo users can gain access to gyms and classes at cost price, and the original holder of the membership gets cash back of between 60 and 90% of the value. Athlo's founder Matthew Mansell says as well as consumers, the app also benefits gym companies, which retain customers and attract new potential members. Now, an Evening Standard billboard announcing the first confirmed cases of COVID-19 in the UK is set to feature in a new exhibition at London's Science Museum. The exhibit's based on the development of the COVID vaccine, and the billboard is one of around 100 objects being used. Natasha McEnroe, Keeper of Medicine at the museum, said it was included because it captures an historic moment. The vial and syringe used to give the world's first COVID vaccine to Margaret Keenan back in December 2020 will also be part of it. And finally, a Florida-based startup says its next-generation silent drone is set to go into general production in 2024. But this is unlike any other drone you've seen. It flies without propellers. The device, by undefined technologies, is propelled by something called ionic propulsion. It works by using high-voltage electric fields that give air molecules like oxygen and nitrogen a positive charge, which then creates a sort of ionic wind that generates thrust. The company said research by NASA shows drone noise is among the most annoying sounds, but said its drone keeps noise levels below 70 decibels because it doesn't use propellers. You're up to date. Come back at 4 o'clock for the Leader podcast, where we bring you the latest news and analysis from the Evening Standard. We will be back tomorrow afternoon at 1 o'clock. See you then.